Hi, in this video we are going to continue the creation of the design prototype using Adobe Fireworks, and this is the list of suggestions how you should use this video. The references of this website can be found on the references for this video can be found on this website. Note that it's case sensitive. Okay, before I forget, this is where we stopped, and the Adobe Fireworks version we used was CS6, but the techniques used is pretty generic, compliant with any Fireworks software. Okay, so if you use CS5 or use CC version, it still works. All you need to do is locate the buttons. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is, okay, this is where we stopped. If you look at the switch off the guides, this is where we stopped. We have this created for you. Make sure this is how it looks like, and make sure it's 100%. Let me switch on the guides again. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to create a banner. Okay, we need to create some images here and probably a picture. So you need some images for this. The images can be downloaded from this place. Okay, go to the website, scroll down, should be able to download the image. I'm sure you know how to save a zip file and things like that. So I have my files already saved in C10 Web Design Photo Image Collection. So these are the images we are going to use. As you can see, they are not really fantastic images, but if you use them well, they can look really good on the website. The main thing is these images need to be sharp. In other words, they cannot be out of focus or too dark. Alright, and they should be of relatively high resolution. So if you look at the details, and this is I think it's a 5 megapixel, so it's around 3000 times 2000 pixels. So one rule of using images on your web page is you should only make the images smaller. You should never drag to make the images bigger. If you make them bigger, you'll lose the quality. That's not very good because they are bitmap images. Okay, let's go ahead and do our banner. And as you can see, is the banner is around 140 times 980, okay, which covers everything here. Sorry, my sketch is a little bit incorrect, but it's okay, it will cover the whole thing. 980 times 140. So we are going to create we're going to draw a rectangle here. Okay, the rectangle is 980 times 140. Starting X position is 0, Y position is 80. And if you want to see what it looks like, you can always change the color of the rectangle. Okay, if you just change it to white, you will realize this is what your rectangle looks like. And if you want size, you can look at the side. That's what it looks like. But actually, that's not exactly what we want to do. All we want is to create a rectangle that is invisible. So I'm going to change this to nothing, so no stroke. The fill would be nothing as well. So you create an invisible rectangle. We are going to use it as a photo frame. So I'm going to call this photo frame. Okay, and so I'm going to paste the image inside the photo frame. Let me make a copy of the photo frame. Copy, and then do a paste. So now you have two photo frames. Okay, one on top of each other, one on top of another. If you switch off the guides, you realize it doesn't affect anything because they're invisible. So why I have 2 copies? Because I want to keep a backup copy. No matter what happens, I'm going to keep this copy, and then I just use the copy I have, because we are going to use the photo frame over and over again. Okay, let's open an image. Let me choose my image from my C drive. Temp, web design, image collection. So this is the image I want to use. Okay, so I open up this, and this guy, I will change this to 25%. So this is the image I want to use. I'm going to do a copy, and then I'm going to paste it here, switch over to here. Okay, as you can see, the image is huge, so I make it back to 25%. Change the selection tool so I can select the image. Be careful not to destroy it, guys. And I want the road. I want this part of the image. If you think the image is too big, you can actually press the Shift key and resize it a little bit. Okay, so it becomes slightly smaller. Remember to press your Shift key, because if you do not press the Shift key, the image will be distorted. That's not good. So make sure you press the Shift key when you resize. So the next thing I want to do is I want to cut this image and paste it inside the photo frame. So I do an edit cut. I select my photo frame and I do an edit paste inside. Okay. So now the photo is pasted inside the photo frame. Now I return to 100. Okay, so this is what the image now looks like. So if I go to switch off the grid, so this is what I have right now. Okay. Alright, looks pretty alright. Okay. So let me switch back to 100, switch that back again. Okay, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to close this file. Don't save, because you don't want to mess up our original file. And the next thing I want to do is I want to create some kind of head, a human. But of course, I'm not going to use real humans. So I'm going to use a toy. So let me copy this photo frame again. Okay. And I'm going to bring this photo frame on top, because your head need to be on top of this. I'm going to open another image, which is the toy. Okay. So let me do a copy of this. Switch over and do a paste. Of course, that's way too big. So let me switch back to 25%. This is too big. I need to resize this. Okay. So press your Shift key again. Press your Shift key. Resize. Too big. Shift key. Resize. Oops, I switched the guide. So that's a common error people use. They delete this guide. Shift key again. Let me make this bigger. Shift key again, resize. Shift. Shift. Okay, this one looks pretty alright. I think let me make it slightly smaller. Shift key. Resize. Okay, and make sure this is on top of the photo frame, on top of the... If you put this guy below, you cannot see it. Okay, it's blocked. So make sure it's on top. And on top. Okay. Alright, they don't blend in very well, so I need to use the McQueen tool, oval McQueen tool, to try to cut this thing a little bit. and I'm going to use the edge. Need to use feather, and let's say 50. See how it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. Not very good. Let me cut. Let me try again. Okay, and I do edit, cut. 50 probably is not good. Let me undo cut. Let's try 80. Cut. Okay, 80 is better. So now I need to get rid of the one that the surrounding area. So I use the pointer too. Okay, when you do this, you are in the bitmap mode, I think. So you have to exit the bitmap mode. Now you can select the one that you want and delete it. Press the delete key. Okay, so we delete that, and then now, if you paste, you'll see that there's a shadow around it. Okay, so probably that's what you want. All right, so because it will blend into the background. So now you do an edit. You can shift this a little bit if you want. I think I'm going to shift it to the left. Yep, that looks good. So I'm going to do an edit, cut, select my photo frame and do an edit, paste. Oops, sorry. Select a photo frame and do edit, paste inside. Okay, so now you have a blend-in image of your toy head on top of this. Okay, so let's do a save, and that's the end of this video. It takes a while to save. Close this just in case you need it again. So now it blends in pretty well. So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. We'll continue from here.